Well, I trust you did well on your quiz in the last lesson. We're going to begin now with a speed drill. So if you would get your speed drill booklets, open up to speed test number 9. They're at the bottom of page 4. We've done a lot with fractions in the last couple of speed drills. This one has some fraction work in it as well, also some decimal work. Remember, you don't have to go in order. You work in the order that works best for you. Water bottle. And so you're going to have 3.5 minutes for the speed drill, and you may... Bless you. Now you may begin. Stop. Pencils down, pens out, and exchange with the person behind you. Person in the back, exchange with the person behind you. Person in the back, bring yours up to the front. And Ben, would you exchange with Kirsten since she is alone in her row today? All right, at the bottom of the page, sign your name as the grader. At the bottom of speed test 9, bottom of page 4, sign your name in pen as the grader. Sign your name in pen as the grader there at the bottom of the page. And these are 10 points each. Let's see how they handle decimals and fractions. Number 1, your answer is 15.7. 15.7. They already had the decimal lined up for you, which was awfully nice. Number 2, Yeah, maybe you needed to put a 0 there at the end of the menu end to make sure you had the ability to do all the borrowing and stuff. But still, they had the decimal end up for you. 1.82 should have been your answer. 1.82. Number 3, we just need to make sure we put 3 decimal places in our answer to get 1.725. 1.725. Number 4 was even easier. I mean, 2 times 3 is 6, but we need 4 decimal places. So we end up with 0.0006 for our answer on number 4. 0.0006. Number 5, we needed to move the decimal out of the divisor by moving it 1 place, but that means we also need to move it in the dividend 1 place to basically get 403 divided by 13. Worked out pretty nicely to get 31. 31, our answer. Number 6, you could do a little bit of canceling, not a lot, to get 7/12. 7/12. For number 7, remember we need to flip the second fraction and then multiply to get 2/3. 2/3, again, some canceling we could do. Number 8, flip that second fraction, put the 6 over 1. Really not a, you could do a little bit of canceling there. End up getting 10 for your answer. 10. For number 9, we needed to get a common denominator and then add together, no issues there, 14 and 11/12. 14 and 11/12. And then for number 10, we just needed to change the number 1 into a 9/9. And if we change 1 into 9/9, we easily subtract to get 4/9. 4/9. Again, these are 10 points each. Figure the score, put it in the score blank, and then also on that first page, put it where it says Speed Drill 9. Question?
For number 4, you said 0.006?
0.000 and then a 6. So 3 zeros before the 6. Yes, sir.
How many points is each one?
What did I say, class? How many points each?
10.
10 points each. Put the score in the score blank and on the score page, and then return to the owner, person at the front, take it to the back. Except over here with Kirsten, you ended up with whose here? I guess you would have technically had hers. Okay, and then you give that's hers, correct? Is that correct? And then this is yours. Okay, we'll get it figured out. We just had a couple people absent that we picked on the video. Did you watch the video by any chance? I had great fun picking on you in the video. All right, because you weren't here. And so anyway, Griffin and Sam back with us, but being out of the room at the moment, taking a makeup quiz. All right, any hundreds on the speed drill? Any hundreds? Wow, really good. How about 90s? Only missed 1. Still really, really good. All right, any questions from the speed drill? All right, pass those forward if you would. Please remember, wait to pass forward until the person behind you has passed theirs to you. Always put yours on the top. Put yours on the top so they stay in order. All right, so as they come to you, put yours on the top and pass them forward that way. There we go. We're going to be pros at this in no time. Yeah. Michael. All right, take out your books, open to page 69. Let's take a look at the homework that you did over the weekend. Page 69. Let's take a look at the homework that you did over the weekend. You did, page 69, the homework section, numbers 1 through 26. Book is starting to fall apart. That's not good. Quickly, page 69. Good. Okay, oh, you weren't here. Okay, good. Page 69. Numbers 1 through 26. That looks like right. Go open your book there quickly. Good. Good. You got it now, Paige? Excellente. Yeah. Okay. Let's take a look. And we've been working with another way to show fractions and decimals, even ratios technically. What is this new way to show fractions, decimals, ratios, Jalen? Percents. And what does the term percent mean, class? Hundredth. Hundredth. So, or hundredths if you have multiple percents. So with hundredths, class, we need to associate percent with how many decimal places? 2. Or we need to associate it, obviously, with what denominator, class? 100, right? So if it means hundredths, it means denominator 100, or it means 2 decimal places. For numbers 1 through 4, they wanted you to show each of these percents as a fraction in lowest terms. Well, to make a percent a fraction, class, that means it needs a denominator. But I said it needs a denominator of 100. And then you reduce the fraction. So number 1 then, what did you get on the homework?
1/2.
1/2. How about number 2? What did you get? 1/5. Number 3, Elaine?
7/20.
7/20. Number 4. Coming up here to Kirsten.
8300.
8300. So you couldn't reduce that one at all, but whatever. How many have the 1/2, 1/5, 7/20, and 8300s? Any questions at all on changing percents to fractions? Just put it over 100 and reduce. Was that a question? Okay. All right. For numbers 5 through 12, you're changing percents to decimals. How many places does the decimal need to move, class?
2.
2. And what's that little the 3-letter looking thing we need to remember here, Corey? Help you remember which direction the decimals got to move.
D to P.
D to P. Well, what do we have on numbers 5 through 12, class? All of them right now are written as percent. And we need to change them all to decimals. So we need to change percents to decimals. So we need to go boink, boink that way twice. What do we get for number 5, Corey?
0.34.
0.34, number 6 page.
0.91.
0.91, number 7. What did you get, Bryson?
0.672.
Excellent. 0.672, number 8, Luciana.
5.97.
0.597, and number 9, Jalen.
5.40.
5.40, or if you just said 5.4, that's correct. Also, number 10, Ben. Yeah, that rhymed.
1.365.
1.365, number 11, Michael.
0.0068.
Did you say 2
I mean,
point?
yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
2.0068 is correct. And number 12, Elaine.
6.02375.
There we go. 6.02375 is correct. How many had all of those correct on 5 through 12? Any questions on changing percents to decimals? All right, looking at numbers 13 through 20, changing decimals to percents. Well, if you want to change a decimal to a percent, boink, boink, the other direction. And so if we boink, boink the other direction, what does 0.51 become, Kirsten?
51%.
51%. Number 14, I know you didn't do it, Griffin, but what would 0.6 be as a percent? 60%. Boink puts it behind the 6, but we have one more boink we got to fill in with a 0. So 60%. How about number 15, Jalen? 2%. Number 16, Luciana?
41.9%.
41.9%. Number 17, Bryson?
87%.
387%. Ooh, number 18, Paige.
500%.
500%. How many saw that? How many had that? Real good, because the decimal's after the 5. So when you go boink, boink, that's 2 zeros. How about number 19, Corey? 738.92% is correct. And number 20, Kirsten?
387.
Remember, I'm only going to boink twice. I think maybe you did this and you forgot the point is now here. 0.387%. Did you have the point or maybe just lost the point? You get the point? Anyway, 0.387%. How many had those correct for 13 through 20? Questions on 13 through 20? All right, let's take a look at some review problems here. Number 21, read that for us if you would, Elaine.
During the volleyball match, Maddie had 8 serves that were inbounds and 5 that were out of bounds. What is the ratio of serves that were inbounds to total serves?
All right, so ratio of ones that were inbounds. Well, how many were inbounds?
5.
That's not what it says.
8.
8. And then it says how many total serves?
12.
What's 8 plus 5?
13.
13. Okay, so what's the ratio of serves that were inbounds to total serves?
8 to 13.
8 to 13, which doesn't reduce. So we're actually happy about that because we don't like having to reduce. Number 24, read that for us, Michael.
For a class party, the desserts the students brought included 15 cupcakes, 12 brownies, and 24 cookies. Write the relationship of cookies to cupcakes as a ratio. Express the ratio as a fraction and reduce if necessary.
All right, so how many cookies?
24.
And how many cupcakes?
15.
So initially, bless you, what's the ratio? You just said there were how many cookies?
24
And how many cupcakes?
24 to 15.
There we go. Initially, it's a ratio of 24 to 15, but we can reduce by what?
3.
3. So our 24 to 15, it did say write it as a fraction, can become what final answer?
8 to 5.
8 to 5. How many 8 to 5 for this ratio problem? Questions on that? Looking at number 23, what sign would we put in the blank? We would say that 3.5, Ben, is Greater than negative 18.2, because a positive is always bigger than a negative. Do you need a tissue? Go ahead and get one real quick. Number 24, we need to find the GCF and LCM of 25 and 20. We might have been able to do this without actually prime factoring, though if we prime factor, class, how do we find GCF? You look for what is shared. And all they share, Jalen, is 5. And when you look for the LCM, class, you're looking for winners. And there's a few different, well, there's quite a number of winners here. What do we end up with for that LCM page? 100. How many had a GCF of 5, LCM of 100? How many figured it out without doing the prime factoring? And certainly you could take that gamble if you needed to. Number 25. What's the name for a number with more factors than just 1 and itself? Sir? Jalen? A number with more factors than just 1 and that same number? Composite is correct. Sorry, I didn't hear you. Composite is correct. By the way, class, what do we call a number with only factors of 1 in itself? Prime. What two integers have factors of that only have, well, they don't even have 1 in itself, so they're not prime or composite, class?
1 and 0.
1 and 0 are not prime or composite. Number 26, writing each fraction as a decimal, 3/4, Luciana? 0.75, 1/2, Bryson?
0.5.
0.5, sorry to wake you up. 4 9s, what page?
0.4 repeating.
0.4 repeating in 5 6th, Corey. 0.83 repeating, where just the 3 is repeating. Questions on the homework? All right, turn back if you would to page, or turn ahead rather, to page 71. Turn ahead to page 71 and do numbers 19 through 24 in the review section. Page 71, do 19 to 24 there in the review section. Wow, a few people already finished. Still take another minute if you need it. All right, pencils down. Even if you're not finished, let's take a look at these. Number 19, we're changing each of these percents to fractions. What did you get for letter A, Elaine?
3 and 7/50ths.
Close, not 3 and 7/50ths.
3 and 7/20ths.
3 and 7/20ths. So we're initially going to put the 335 over class 100 because percent means class hundreds. We're going to change it to 335 hundredths. But obviously 100 can go in 3 times with 35 left over. So there's our 3 and 35 hundredths. We can then divide a 5 out of the top and bottom. That's where we get the 7. And of course 100 divided by 5 would be the 20 there. Okay, well let me come back to Elaine for redemption. She's like, I knew that. What do we get for letter B?
3/20ths.
3/20. Again, class initially put the 15 over 100, and then just divide the 5 out of the top and bottom, and that's where we get 3/20 for our answer. How many of both of those correct on 19? Any questions on percents to fractions? Let's take a look then at number 20, and let's change each percent to a decimal. What did you get for letter A, Kirsten?
0.0075.
Good, 0.0075. You already have the decimal at the front, you got to move it 2 more places. What did you get for letter B, Ben?
0.015.
Well, 0.015 would be correct. And how about letter C? What did you have, Bryson?
0.007.
0.007. Again, move the decimal 2 places to the left. That way. How many had all 3 of those correct on number 20? Any questions on 20? All right, let's go the other way now. Let's change each number to a percent. So 2.67 as a percent is what, Jalen?
267%.
267%. 200ths would be what, Corey?
200%.
Ooh. Letter B. 2 over 100. 200ths. It's too easy to be easy, isn't it? Luciana? 2%. Because what means hundredths? Percent. So 200ths, 2%. Do you see it now? Or if you wrote it as a decimal, Corey, it'd be 0.02 and then point, there's your 2%. Right, so 2%. Let me come back to you for redemption, Corey. Letter C, 0.075 becomes?
7.5%.
7.5%. Good. Questions on 21? Question?
Wasn't the 2 over 100 one of the questions in the homework? Just when I saw that.
Well, they had 0.02 on number 15 in the homework, but they didn't write it the same way. But yeah, if you're like, I feel like 2% is familiar. Yeah, we did see 2% in the homework, but it wasn't written in the fraction form. It was written in the decimal form, and that's what kind of threw Corey off. He was like, I know what to do with the fraction or the decimal form. What is this fraction nonsense? Well, just remember, percent means hundreds. They were trying to emphasize that point. Number 22, we're multiplying by 10 to the 4th. What do we get, Paige? Didn't do that one yet. Well, what do we need to do to work this?
Move the decimal.
How many places?
4.
In which direction, since we're multiplying?
Right.
Right. So if we go to the right 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, what do we end up with?
1,572.
But what has to go in this little gap?
0.
Right, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4th place needs a 0, so we actually get
45,720.
there we go, 45,720. What about letter B? What do we get here? Let's go back to Corey.
0.192.
0.192, because we moved the decimal 2 places this time to the left. Number 23, what's the first term in the ratio called, class?
Antecedent.
Antecedent. Number 24, if we round to the nearest 10th, what do we get, Sam?
3.0.
Remember the 10th place is right here. We look at the digit after it. What does a 4 do to the 1? None. So that means that all these numbers just fall off. So we just get 0.1. There we go. Keep the 0.1, right? It's just all the digits after it fall off when we round to the nearest 10th. What if we were to round to the nearest 100th? What would we get?
3.05.
3 point what?
05.
Why are you getting a 0? It's a 1. Don't change the 1, right? So keep the 3, just like you kept the 3. So keep the decimal, keep the 1. Just allow the 9 to do what to the 4? Bump it up to a, and then everything else falls off. Does that make sense? So if we were to round to the nearest 1,000th, what would we have?
3.110.
3 point what?
110.
Why would we get a 1 right here? You keep the 3.1, you also would keep the 4. What does this 9 do to this 9? To a 9 bumps a 9 up to a 5?
No, 10.
To a 10. There we go. He was out Friday. He's getting his brain back in gear. Take it easy. All right, so the 9 bumps the 9 up to a 10. We carry the 1, and that's what carries this up now to a 5. There we go. But the 3.1 stays. It's just that the 9 bumps to a 10, which bumps the 4 to a 5. So how many have those 3 answers on number 24? All right, questions on that? We'll get you back in the groove here in a bit, Sam. Well, hang in there. Hang in there. All right, questions on the review. All right. Well, last time we were together on Friday, we after the quiz, we began working on changing fractions to percents. Fractions to percents, and I believe we did the odd problems on page 71. So for Sam and, by the way, Sam, did you get to watch the video I said? Good. So you heard me pick on you a little bit? Good. Griffin didn't watch it, so he missed out. All right, but anyway. So you'll recall then, Sam, and then Griffin, you won't recall because you were a slob and didn't watch the video, that if we had a fraction like 3/5, what we could do, class, is we could change the fraction to a decimal because we've memorized that 3/5 class is 0.6. And then to turn a decimal to a percent, we just go boink, boink 2 times. Boink, boink. And what do we end up with, class? 60%. And this is one way to go from a fraction to a percent. Change to the decimal and boink, boink. Or, I said the alternative would be to get a denominator of 100. What do I multiply 5 by to get 100, class? 20. And if I multiply 3 by 20, class, it gives me 60. And 60 hundredths, Corey, means 60%. And either way would work. Now, I will say this. I think it's easier if you have it memorized already, right? Would we not agree? So I think that's easier. So for number 3, we looked at 3/4 and said, class, 3/4 is what decimal? 0.75, and then boink, boink, and we get 75%. For number 6, class, we had seen 1/5, and we said 1/5 is what decimal? 0.2, and then boink, boink, 20%. Number 7, though, not memorized, right? But we said if we got the denominator of 100, what do we multiply 25 by to get 100, class? 4 quarters and $1, right? So that gives me how many hundredths? And 16 hundredths literally means 16%. We were able to get the answer that way. Number 9, we had to divide it out. It was annoying. Number 11, we would reduce 8/16, class. 1/2 as a decimal. And then boink, boink gives us 50%. Do we remember doing that on Friday? Not really. Tough. Do the evens, 2 through 12. Do page 71, 2 through 12, the even. Get the decimal and then boink, boink. Either because it's memorized or because you can divide to get the decimal. So when it wants a percent, get the decimal first, boink, boink to get the percent. Yes.
That's why you said do all the things.
No, I just said do 1 through 11, the odd last time. Now we're doing 2 through 12 even. Did you do all of them? Well, you may sit there bored.
I did everything but 12.
No, we weren't.
I did everything but 12.
We'll do 12 first, and then sit there bored. Shh, working quietly, letting others focus. Make sure we're always considerate and thoughtful. people already finished. Take about 30 seconds longer to work on these. All right, pencils down. Even if you're not finished with all of them, pencils down. Let's see how we did on the ones you got to. 7/10, first of all. You could just think place value, class. 7/10 is what decimal?
0.7.
0.7. And if you go point, point, that's going to give you what percent, class?
70%.
70%. Or you could think, well, I want a denominator, class, of 100 because percent means
100.
hundreds. And so I would need to multiply top and bottom by 10, and 7 times 10, of course, is
70.
and 70 hundredths is another way of saying 70%. How many got 70%? Either way you did it on number 2. Number 4, we've already memorized 1/8 as a decimal. What is 1/8, Kirsten?
0.125.
0.125. And then if we go boink boink, we get
12.5%.
there we go, 12.5%. Or if you wanted to, you could say 12.5%. I'm fine with the 12.5%. How many got that for number 4? On number 6, 1/5. We've already memorized as a decimal is what page? 0.2. And then if I go boink boink, I get what? 20%. Excellent. Number 8, I've got 3/20ths. I didn't memorize that. But I could easily get a denominator, class, of 100 if I just multiply top and bottom by 5 to get how many hundredths, class?
15.
And a 15 hundredths, then, class?
15%.
15%. Or you could have divided the 3 by the 20. 20 goes into 30, class, once with 10 left, right? And then 20 goes into 100. 5 times evenly, so there's my 0.15, and then boink boink still gets us 15%, whichever way. How many got 15% regardless of the way you did it? All right, questions on that one? Let's see, numero 10. Let's see, 5/40ths? No. Not 5/40ths, class, reduce it. We're looking at number 10. It says 5/40ths. I don't do that. What is that?
1/8.
It's 1/8. And we already said 1/8 was what?
0.25.
12.5%. 1.25 or 12.5%. So literally, number 4 and number 10 are going to be the same answer, aren't they? Since 5/40ths is 1/8. How about looking at number 12? 12/32. No. Let's reduce that down. What can we divide out of 12 and 32, class? A 4 would be best, right? 6 doesn't go into 32 evenly, right? 6 times 9 gives 32. We can divide by 4, right? So let's reduce our 12/32ths, 12/32, by 4 to get what fraction, class? 3/8. And Bryson, what is 3/8 as a decimal? Uh-oh. This is not good. Oh dear, Bryson. I'm dying on the inside. What?
375.
0.375, there we go. And so, I'm spared. And so now when we boink boink, what do we get, Bryson?
37.5%.
Percent, there we go. The whole point between a percent sign on there. 37.5%. How many had that for number 12? How many didn't see the reduction, so you had to divide it out the long, painful, hard way? Always reduce. That's the moral of the story. Questions on these? Any questions on these? Yes, ma'am.
You get candy if you got them already.
No. No. You don't get candy by asking for it. I come up with the idea of giving you candy, and then we get candy. All right, look back at page 70. Look back at page 70, because one of the things that has caused students trouble, maybe in 5th and 6th grade, historically tends to cause students trouble even in junior high, are fractional percents. Fractional percents. And there's no reason for this to give you trouble, because math should be easy, because mathematicians are. So let's see if we can't make this really easy here. Fractional percent. Percent means we're going to boink boink twice, right? Well, here's the deal. You cannot mix, listen to me, you cannot mix decimals and fractions. It's either decimal or it's fraction. It's not both. So what we're going to have to do, if you see a fractional percent, is you've got to change it to a decimal percent. Does that make sense? Write this in the side of the margin of your book on page 70. Fraction percent has to change to decimal percent. And then, boink, boink. Fraction percent has to change to decimal percent. And then, boink, boink. Move the decimal those two places. The illustration the book gives, first of all, is 3/8%. That's not cool. We don't do that. We don't do fraction and percent at the same time, typically. So what we need to do, Bryson, is we're going to change 3/8 to a decimal, because now you remember that 3/8 is, I'm sorry? 0.37, and don't forget the point, 0.375. But notice, class, the percent sign did not go away. What gets rid of the percent sign, class? The boink boink. That's a really mathy way of saying it, I know. The boink boink gets rid of the percent. Have we boink boinked yet? No. Then don't lose the percent sign. We only get to lose the percent sign once we go ahead and boink boink. Now, there's no percent sign left. Do you see it? It's 3 steps. Make the fraction percent become a decimal percent. Still keep the percent sign on there, then do the boink boink. Does everyone see that? Look at the blue shaded box. They got the 1/4%. Notice what they did. First, the 1/4 class became 0.25. But see the percent sign still there. Then they boink boink, and it's 0.0025, and now the percent sign falls off. We all see that? Don't try to do it in one step, do it in two. Look at the next one. This is for Bryson. 25 3/8. That 3/8 just keeps coming back, Bryson. 25 3/8%. Notice, Bryson, they changed the 3/8 to what? 0.375, right? So notice, class, they now have 25.375%. They still have the percent because they haven't yet done what? Boink boink. There we go. They haven't boink boink yet. Now, once they go boink boink, now the percent sign falls off, and notice what their answer was, class? 0.25375. Do you see that? Everyone got that? What?
It's just so weird.
You can come up with a creative, mathy sounding way to say it if you want to, but I think boink boink makes it feel easy. I like boink boink. Okay, some people stuck up. Just kidding. I'm just kidding, Mike. I love you. All right, let's take a look now at 13 through 18. Change each of these fractions to decimals, and then boink boink, or whatever you want to call it, and get rid of the percent sign. Do 13 through 18 at your seats. 13 through 18 at your seats. Well, let's see how we do with these. Reposition the decimal to maintain equivalence.
What?
There we go. We like that?
Yeah.
You're going to reposition the decimal to maintain equivalence. Oh, or in the words of Nadaski, boink boink.
I like boink.
Are you trying to hurt me?
I'm just picking on you, Michael. As my dad always told me growing up, son, if you're not picked on, you're not loved.
Oh.
Right? So the more I pick on somebody, the more I must love them. So apparently, Michael, as much as you're getting picked on at this particular moment, you must be my favorite. It was Bryson a minute ago with his 3/8 though. Oh, your turn's coming up. You all cycle through. Don't worry.
Huh.
What?
You always pick on everybody else except for me.
Oh no, you've had a. I haven't picked on you, Corey. I'm sorry.
It's Daddy Hall.
Anyway, work on 13 through 18. Yes, Jalen.
What?
If it's upside down. Upside down two hump camel? Bactrian camel, right? Because the Bactrian camel has a two. So an upside down Bactrian camel, that's longer than repositioning the decimal to make. No, it's not longer. Okay. Some people's kids. All right, 13 through 18. It's okay. I say that about my own kids a bunch too. So. You know it's bad when you look at your own kids. You're like, oh, some people's kids. All right, for sake of time, let's take a look at these together. Number 13. Don't give me the final answer yet. Griffin, 2/5 becomes what?
0.00.
I didn't ask for the answer. Listen to what I said, Griffin. On number 13, initially, 2/5 becomes,
0.4.
and then you move the decimal 2 places and you get,
0.004.
good. Number 13, 3/4 becomes what, Sam?
4. No. 7.75.
0.75, and then you boink and get
0.0075.
0.0075. Number 15, 1/2 becomes, Kirsten,
0.5.
and then you move the decimal 2 places and get
0.005.
0.005. Number 16, we initially changed the 7/8 to what, Jalen?
7/8 to 0.875.
And then you do the upside down backtree and camel and get
0.00875.
0.00875. Bryson, 3/8 becomes
375.
0.375, and then you boink to get
0.00375.
good. For number 18, the 4/5, ignore the 7 for a minute. The 4/5 becomes what, Michael? Stay with me. Michael, on number 18, that 4/5 becomes
0.8.
0.8. So the whole percent right now reads
7.8.
percent, correct? And then we reposition the decimal to maintain equivalence, and what do we get?
7.008.
We move the decimal 2 places, we boink, and we get
0.078.
0.078. Does that make sense? Tell you what, side margin of your book. I know the bell rang, but I need to keep you for just a moment. Make sure you've really got this. Write this down on the side margin of your book. 32 1/4%. Change it to a decimal. 32 1/4%. Change that to a decimal. I'll let your next teacher know I catch you. But I want to make sure we've got this down really well. Paige, what does the 1/4 become?
0.5.
How much is a quarter? What's the value of a quarter? 25 cents. So what should it be?
0.2.
0.25. Okay, so how do I rewrite this whole thing? 32.25%, right? The only thing we're changing is 1/4 becomes 0.25. Does that make sense? Then we boink to get what page?
3.2.
No, boink. 2 boinks.
0.0225.
Good, and that's what makes the percent sign fall off. Does everyone see that? How many had that answer? One more. Let's do 5 7/8%. 5 7/8%. Luciana, what's my initial rewrite gonna look like?
0.5875.
No. What initially, when I just rewrite the 7/8, what does it become? So what do I write? Keep the 5. Good, 5.875, and I still have that percent sign, right? Then we boink to get what? There we go. Do we see how to move the decimal after we've changed fraction to decimal? Are you going to practice this with your homework this evening? And let me mark some things real quick here. We didn't quite get everything done. We were very close. So we'll look at a couple more things tomorrow. Page 72. Page 72. Want you homework 1 to 17. Page 72, the homework section 1 through 17. Page 72, homework 1 through 17. We have a test coming up Friday. For those watching on video, that's lesson 34. Test coming up on Friday over sections 1.9 to 2.3. That's fractions, percents, ratios, that kind of stuff. All right, you are dismissed. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And I'll let your teacher know you'll be a little bit late.